What's up, y'all? What's up, y'all? I'm gonna change this. I forgot I had the other song right here. Let me change this up. Y'all remember this? I forgot I had the song up in here. I gotta think somebody else used this and they goddamn strike on it. It was a similar sample, I guess, the person that produces. But I'm using it today. I was using it first. But hey, we here anyway. What's up, everybody? What's up, y'all? We about to talk about why Kamala Harris is not like us. We about to talk about why she's not like us. But what we gonna do before we get all the way into it is we're about to go to our social medias and then tell everybody where we are at now. So all I need y'all to do is go to your social media, click on the link that's here with this video like I'm about to do. And this goes for you people watching later on too. This ain't just for the people watching live. This also goes for the people who are watching later on. Whenever you do decide to watch this video, whether it be live or later, make sure that you click on the link, drop it in your Instagram stories, and when you drop it in your Instagram stories, make sure you tag me on IG so I can repost it. Same thing on Twitter. When you find this, let me see. Spray. Let me spray. Let me see here. Breaking. Let me see here. Come on now. Here we go. Make sure that shit spelled right. Yep, it's spelled right. Hope it was spelled right. So yeah, I want y'all to do the same that I just did. Go and post it right now. Here we go. All right, cool. We here. So we about to really break down right now. The intro music is done. Let's get right into it. Again, welcome everybody that's come. Welcome everybody that's here. This is why we having this discussion today, because I'm not about to approach this from no damn emotional point of view. We about to approach this stuff from a more practical, scholarly point of view on, why Kamala Harris is not like us. Too many black people want to turn around and make her black. And to make her black, you're force feeding small little things in to make her black. And to tell you the truth, this is why black people, black Americans in particular, this is why this ties into how our music heritage is being stolen. We don't understand enough about culture and what culture is, and we as a people, we don't even recognize our culture and the uniqueness of it. So quick to bring everybody else in with a big tent, you don't realize when you bringing in your own enemy. All skin folks ain't your kin folks. And to decide who is who, you gotta give a forensic analysis of their culture. How do you give a forensic? How do you draw and get a forensic analysis of the culture? You study their parents, and you look at how their parents raised them, specifically the mothers. Mothers are the ones who impart culture on children. Fathers impart the discipline. Mothers impart the culture of a child. And especially when you're dealing with a single mom who had minimal input from the father regarding culture. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go on a deep dive, and we're gonna read some of what Kamala's father has to say, because if you notice, they're talking about how black she is, or they'll talk about how Indian she is, but they'll never talk about her father. They talk about her mother. They talk about, hell, they talk more about Sweet Dick Willie Brown than they talk about her daddy. Y'all notice that? So, and the crazy part about it is her father is alive, and her father lives in DC. Like, her father lives like down the street from her job, and he's still alive. And they want to act like he doesn't exist. Why do they act like he doesn't exist? Well, when I go through this article that was written in 2021 in the Washington Post, we will get a deeper dive into why possibly they don't like to talk about her true roots, and they throw up these smoke signals talking about she went to Howard and she was born in Oakland and went to Howard University. But in between Oakland and Howard was a whole lot of whiteness and non-blackness, I should say. And then post-Howard through now, even more shitload fuck ton of non-blackness. So they cherry pick pieces of her history and put her in Chucks and Pearls, and then give her that stupid ass Wakanda symbol, you know, and that's how they do. They play these games with us, and it's an insult. So that's an overview of where we're going with today. This is an overview of where we're going with it today. I just gave y'all an overview. Now, from here, we're going to get into details. Let me see how I can position my camera so y'all can see that. There we go. Let's see here. I'm over here getting text messages from my tenants. God damn it, I'm live. Y'all gonna have to deal with y'all. That's one of y'all apartments is on fire. And if it's on fire, call a goddamn fire department. Why are you texting me? Running buildings is whatever. Anyway, so that's where we gonna go. That's the direction we going in today. Why Kamala is not like us. We're gonna get into to a dive into who she is, and then from after we dive into who she is, we're gonna talk a little bit, all right? So in the meantime, what I need y'all to do is go to thewanb.com. Yeah. Type in, go to the GoFundMe. Hey mods, can y'all put like type in like a link to the GoFundMe, the Cash App, and my website so I can pin that shit to the top? One of my mods do that to me with links to all that. That way I can pin it at the top of the chat. So but this is what we're gonna talk about today. So let me go through here. Before I even get into it, let's see what some of you guys are talking about. She's an AKA. You know her being an AKA. She's an honorary AKA. She didn't go through. She didn't, like, when she became an AKA, she didn't go through the whole what's that movie with Spike Lee today. She didn't go through the school days process. She became one later. You dig? She became one. Yeah, Miles, because you put that. Oh yeah, you can't put everything as one link. Oh yeah, put everything like in one post, so I can pin that whole post to the top. The website link, the Cash App link, and the and all that, and the Patreon link. Like, put it in one post, and so I'm gonna pin it. But so yeah, we about to do all that. So let's get into why Kamala Harris is not like us. Let's get into why she's not like. First off, we got to get into what is culture. Let me pull up culture. Let me pull up a definition of culture and an anthropological definition of culture. Let's see here. Let me see here. Come on, let me see here. ChatGPT. Have y'all do it. I'm doing everything on ChatGPT. Yeah, Here we go. I want to go and source it. An anthropology, an anthropological definition of culture, it refers to collective practices, norms, values, symbols, and material objects, and I would add music, that are transmitted socially and shape the way life, the life of a group of people. Things like clothing, rituals, social norms, belief systems, all of these things encapsulate what is culture, okay? Beliefs, these are the common bonds. It's not just skin tone is partially part of it, but it's all these other parts that encapsulate what culture is. And so when we get into culture, we have to understand that it's these systems, it's religious practices, it's language. Language is a major part of culture. People who have other languages, like in America, Black Americans, our language is English. That's the only language we know, unless we took it in school and decided in school to grow and learn more languages. Outside of learning more languages in a school setting, the Black American born and raised lineage, both grandparents on both sides and great grandparents on both sides from the United States of America, 99.9% of the time don't learn outside languages in English, not in the home. If they learn those languages are learned in school, not at home. So when you're dealing with a group of people who have their own language at home, already they're a different culture than you. Why? Because they have words that express things that are different than yours, and they have words that can express things your language cannot express. Kamala Harris is Tamil. Tamil is one of the oldest languages in India. Let me see it. I'm putting, and it says it in here. Let me see. She has Tamil roots, and it's saying that her mother spoke Tamil. Okay, so if her mother spoke Tamil, that means she was raised in an environment that has those words too. Okay, so off top, she's dealing with a different cultural connection than you are as Black people. And I don't want, like, if you're a troll, people who are trolling mods, handle the trolls. This isn't a day that we're going to allow stupid people to take over the conversation in the chat. I'm not saying boot them from the channel, but put them on timeout and let them know stupid shit will not persist in the chat today. So I'm giving motherfuckers a lesson. So when it comes, because this is the overall lesson good for all of us, because what it'll do, this lesson will make it to where you guys, we don't keep falling over the same mistake over and over and over again, thinking that someone, because of their skin tone, is the same as us. Skin tone is the most superficial, wrong-headed, dick-headed way of thinking about culture and people. You don't share a common bond with people based on skin tone. You share a common bond with people you share a larger common bond, but here's how it is. Let me take that back. You do share a common bond on skin tone in this level. You may have you may run across some of the same experiences as somebody else with the same skin tone when you interact with people of other races. Like, if we're all the same skin tone, when we go out and interact with people with other races who have contempt for people of darker races, on that level, we do have a shared common experience. Your cultural upbringing, the people you come from, your lineage, and your nurture meaning the whole nurture versus nature. Y'all can watch the movie Trading Places for more detail on how nurture versus nature works. But nurture is how you were raised. What did your mother, what kind of environment did she raise you in? How did your mother and your father teach you to react to issues? That side determines how you react to what you see and what you experience. So although we have the same skin tone and we may have a shared experience when dealing with another group of people, our nurture, our bloodline, where we come from, our culture dictates how we respond to that threat, how we respond to that problem. That comes through culture. And through this experience of the last 400 years Black Americans have been dealing with, we have developed a cultural response that's a little bit different than people not of our culture. Even the biggest Black sellout only goes so far. Even Clarence Thomas coon ass only went so far when it came to certain things. You dig what I'm saying? You want to mess over a group of people, bring in somebody who looks like them, but from a different culture. President Obama. Did Obama give a fuck when Trayvon Martin, Eric Garner, and all the people was getting killed? Even though here in LA, Tom Bradley cooned us out when it came to the LAPD whooping our ass, he only let it go so far before he said, you know what? Hey, I can't let this happen. I gotta, Obama didn't give a fuck. Nigga, Obama went to Flint, act like he drank that water and left. That's because he's from a different culture. White mom, Kenyan father. Different culture. Attorney General Eric Holder from the Caribbean, different culture. He didn't mind not using the Department of Justice to file charges when these police departments were corrupt. Different culture. Loretta Lynn, these people are Susan Rice. These are different cultures of people. What's up, LAPD SWAT? Does she have any Black or ancestry? Yeah, she obviously has Black ancestry in her. Yeah, and African, I should say. She's from India, but she's from old African. You got to understand this. Tamil, her group of Indians are some of the first to settle India. The Tamil. They're cold, and they got to realize that Tamil culture her mother comes from, that culture goes back well over 1,500 years. So she has deep Indian cultural roots. Deep. Her father is Jamaican. And when it comes to Jamaicans, Jamaicans have a different culture than Black Americans. Not to say it's better. When we talk about this, we're not talking about it from a point of view of better, worse. This culture is better than that culture. We don't talk about it from that point of view. We talk about it from the point of view of these cultures operate differently depending on what they're faced with. And that's true. And when it comes to Jamaican culture, there's cultures, there's an overall dominant culture, and then there are subcultures within the culture. And when it comes to Kamala, her father comes from the upper class of Jamaican culture. You know, and we're about to get into that with this I'm about to play right here, about to read. Her father comes from the upper class of Jamaican culture. The class of Jamaican culture that looks down on the other class, the lower class of Jamaican culture. So in nowhere in her bloodline does she share a common bond with Black American culture. And the problem is a lot of you motherfuckers are racist. Y'all don't understand that. When I say racist, that's a lot of you niggas too. You don't understand that Black Americans have culture, or you don't like the fact that we have culture, I should say. The people who don't understand are racist, they're just naive. The ones who do recognize that there's a certain culture, but you don't like it, or you tribe everything negative to Black culture, you the racist motherfuckers. Everybody else is just naive. Well, let me break it down to your dumb ass. So, Black Americans, we, through the years, we're in the belly of the beast. America deals with us, and it settles how it's going to be racist to the rest of the world after experimenting on our black asses. When it works, when the division and the things that they use to keep the ghetto alive and all that shit, when it works in America, then they export that bullshit to other parts around the world after they done gave us the trial run. And then after they export it across the world, it come back and it haunt white folks, Indians, Latinos, and everybody else who thought that they wasn't gonna be part of it. So it always circles back to everybody. But black Americans tend to be the guinea pigs in America as to how America is going to export its racism across the rest of the planet, only to bring it back home and harm the very white folks that support it here in America. That's how the chain goes. So nobody gets away from it. We just get it first. But through getting it first, we have a different reaction we see when we deal with them. We don't, and it's not to say that we don't have coons, because we have too many goddamn. Black America is flooded with natural born, eight great grandparents in America, natural ass coons, and 7 out of 8 of your great grandparents was coons too. And that coon lineage got passed down to your ass too. That goes to a lot of you right-wing niggas who think that they gonna save you. I know that neither party fucks with me, left or right. But circumstance pushes people to the margins, and I get it. So when it comes to culture, the black American, we have a different culture. We have a different reaction. We're thrown in these ghettos, even if you're not in the ghetto. I was raised in I had a foot in both doors. I had a foot in the black ghetto and a foot in the black upper class where I was raised. In the two sides of LA I was raised on. I was raised on the ghetto side. I was raised in the working class side, and then moved later on to the upper class Negroes. But whether I was with the upper class Negroes in Ladera Heights or the niggas east of the 110 freeway, there's a common cultural bond that when you're black and you're dealing with society, you have the same reaction. I have a college degree. When I went to go apply for jobs, they didn't give a fuck that I had a college degree. They didn't give a fuck that I had experience. They was like, you a nigga, you ain't getting a call back. Unless I would change my name from Dewan to Don, or a more white sounding name, then I would get a call back. Only for them to see 6'2", 340 walking up in that motherfucker, and they be like, hey. Every time I would go to an interview and they would see that 6'2", 340, all of a sudden my college degree and decades of work experience no longer mattered. So we understand here is black America, whether you upper class, lower class, in the middle, whether you have a lot of education, African niggas, or no education, it's the same shit. We understand that. And we play colorism games on a joking level. We snap with colorism games. Look at this old light-skinned nigga right here. We assume every light-skinned nigga soft. Oh, elder barge ass niggas. We know y'all. Light-skinned niggas. We all know how how y'all are. You know what? Light-skinned niggas do this every time they look in the mirror. Be adjusting their eyebrows and doing shit like that. You niggas are weird. And then you got the dark-skinned niggas that when you play basketball, dark-skinned niggas can't shoot. They can block every jump shot, but they can't shoot. We be cracking jokes on each other. Like Gap's tooth motherfucker. We just be cracking jokes. But our colorism stops at jokes. Our colorism don't get in the way of people's job opportunities. Our colorism don't get in the way of saying, okay, you can't have this promotion because you're too dark-skinned. We'll crack jokes all day, but we're not gonna stop nobody from employment and do things like that. But when you're dealing with people from Caribbean culture, skin tone makes a huge difference on whether or not you get a job here or there. Their colorism goes a little bit past jokes. Not to say ours didn't at one point. Our colorism definitely stifled opportunity in the late 1800s, early 1900s. But black Americans realized by the 1920s, 1930s, really the Aphid of Randolph years, around the 1920s, black Americans got realized that whole light skin, dark skin shit, when it come to money, that ain't gonna work. So we about 100 years past our denying black people economic opportunities based on skin tone. Now for us, it's just jokes. Or it might be for a social organization like the Jack and Jill. And the truth is, most niggas don't like black people from Jack and Jill. So the only organizations that kind of keep that shit around, 98% of America don't fuck with them. So go figure. So we're going into the basis of why Kamala is not like us. What I want to do now is I want to go into an article written in the Washington Post. I want to go to an article written in the Washington Post about her, from her father. This article is from 2001. So what I want to do is, let's listen to who Kamala is from the words of the parent that's still alive. Okay, here we go. The Jamaican connection. Kamala Harris's father is a proud islander who made sure his daughters knew their heritage. That's dope. Because I encourage parents to, whatever the heritage is, let your kids know what that heritage is and be proud. So, here we go. On the summer evening, and I'm not gonna read the whole article, but I will read key parts. Kamala, the girl who will become vice president, was the eldest at 13 as she watched Bob Marley and the Wailers sing away at the outdoor arena campus on the University of California at Berkeley. So off top, they're telling you, you know, he's right here. The article is talking about make sure his daughters knew their Jamaican heritage. So the first cultural event that the father took them to at the age of 13 was to go see Bob Marley and the Wailers. Cool. Bob Marley dope as fuck. I think 1978, that was the year he toured with Stevie Wonder. That could have also been a Stevie Wonder concert. I don't know, but I know it was the Wailers. Let me see. He said, we sat in the back of the theater as I watched the performance in complete awe. Harris said, to this day, I know the lyrics. Okay, Bob Marley. Here it is. The experience meant to be more than musical. Her father, a prominent Jamaican economics professor teaching at Stanford, was trying to imbue his two American-born girls with a sense of pride in their roots. Like the Harrys, Marley was from a parish on, I said Harry's. Harris's. Marley was from a parish on the north coast of the island called St. Anne. Now, you know, also like Harris, Bob Marley also was multicultural, although Bob Marley did identify more with his black Jamaican roots than his white. And his lyrics bore that out. So he's talking about their Jamaican roots. Off top, he's telling you black women, black American women. All you want to say she's black. She's not like you. Jamaicans have a different culture. And their culture is beautiful. I'll never say anything bad about Jamaican culture. I'll talk shit about people like Busta Rhymes and Pete Rock who try to infringe on black American culture. I will talk shit about niggas like that. But I'll never talk shit about the culture itself, because the culture itself, again, like I said, is beautiful. And so he's talking about how so this is Kamala's Black history. For those who say she's black like us, this is her blackness. This is what's being taught to her at a young age. She's being taught her Jamaican people, Jamaican beauty, the richness of Jamaican culture. And back then, people like Donald Harris, they're not saying hip hop is Jamaican culture. I can guarantee to you that. I can promise you his age group wasn't saying no fucking hip hop is Jamaican culture. Jamaican culture is distinctly different. And the father did a great job, apparently in this article, of teaching her that. So it goes into talking about how, you know, Kamala, most of the time Kamala and her sister spent growing up was with their mother. The consequence of a bitter divorce and tough custody battle. Shamela Goplan, a cancer researcher who grew up in India, had taken a job at McGill University a little over a year before the concert. That's the mother. 3 seasons a year, the girls lived in Montreal. Summers included bonding time with their father. So I'm telling you right now, when early in her life, she would spend the summers in Montreal. And a lot of you niggas thought she was in Oakland. She was not around Oakland. She wasn't listening to Too Short. She don't know who the fuck MC Hammer is. She thinks Mac Dre was something on the menu at McDonald's. She has no clue who can function the Grateful Dead, Tower of Power, nor Sly and the Family Stone. She has no clue about who none of them people are from the Bay Area. She ain't never seen an episode of Hanging with Mr. Cooper. Nigga, she don't know who the fuck Run TMC is. She don't know who Tim Hardaway is, nigga. She don't know none of that. She don't know who Chris Mullin is. She don't know about the Bash Brothers, Mark McGuire and Jose Canseco. She ain't never seen Ricky Henderson a day in her life. She don't know Al Davis or the Raiders. Just win, baby. Why? Because she was in Montreal. Because she was in Montreal. So this guy, Joe, said, I obviously hate black women. Joe, you obviously hate thinking. I know I'm hurting your pussy ass feelings, Joe, because you was born, your nuts ain't dropped yet, and you in your 60s. You probably talk like this, Joe, and you don't want to hear the real deal. I know this is hurting your urethra, homeboy, but deal with it. I'm reading an article from her father, not from you, bitch ass nigga. This is what her father is saying. You idiot. This ain't me. That's why I pulled the article. Do you know the Washington Post can be sued to hell heavens for publishing an article like this, quoting her father? Do you know that? This isn't. See, you got to know, people, the difference between an opinion piece and an editorial. Do you guys need to get taken back to the first grade and learn the difference between an editorial piece and an opinion piece? If something in a newspaper comes from the opinion area, that means that somebody's opinion on what's going on. This isn't from the opinion section. This is an editorial by Robert Samuels quoting her father. Her dad. I know a lot of you hope motherfuckers don't like the concept of black fathers and Jamaican and dark-skinned men loving their children. I know that hurts some of you. But Jamaican fathers are good fathers too. Does that bother you that she had a good Jamaican father that wanted to instill culture in her, that lost custody because of divorce? Does that bother you? A very successful father who did what a father's supposed to do, instill culture. I'm not judging it. It's you dumb fucks judging it. I'm telling you what it is. She said, only black feminine men want Kamala. Right. Somebody said, bitch, I can't vote. I'm a felon. No, I'm not a felon. I've never broken a law in my life. And I'm actually a college graduate. I'm not a felon. I'm not the nigga you used to talking to. Bitch. I'm ignorant like most niggas you know. But I ain't that. I'm a fun-loving, good brother. Fuck out of here. But what we're doing is we're just going through her father's recollection of his daughter. That's all this is. This is daddy who's still alive, talking about daughter. If you don't like it, blame your father for not being there for you. And you guys handle that issue on your own, but don't bring your daddy issues to my YouTube video. Hoe. There's a hoe named Joe. Not all Joes are a hoe, but this Joe. You know what, Joe? This is for you real quick. Joe is a hoe. 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 Come on, Joe. And everybody like Joe. Don't hoe yourself for Kamala Harris. The only hoes Kamala respect are the hoes that get on their knees for promotions like she did with Sweet Dick Willie Brown. Not the hoes that just hoe for free. Joe, you hoeing for free. Even hoe Kamala don't respect a hoe like you, Joe. Because when Kamala hoed, she hoed with the mayor of San Francisco and got them knees red, right? Kamala didn't say I'm gonna wear a red dot on my forehead. She said, I'm putting red dots on my knees and get this promotion. And she red-kneed her ass all the way to the top, Joe. So if you're gonna be a hoe for the promotion. Don't be a hoe in my chat room. You ain't getting nothing, Joe. You being a hoe, they ain't nothing for you, brother. So come off the hoe shit, brother. This is from brother to brother, black man to black man. I think you black. I think you are. You more of a Larry Elder type black nigga, you know. You more of a, what do you call that? What do you call that dude? The little short dude that always wear the cowboy boots. Y'all know Patterson? No, what's the little short dude? Jesse Lee Peterson. Yeah, you more of a Jesse Lee Peterson kind of black man. But you're still a black man, and I got love for you, Joe. But this isn't just for Joe. This is for all the Joes out there. Don't be a hoe. Don't hoe for these political parties, God damn it. Take what you see. And if something you see is new and you learn something new and something different, don't succumb to the cognitive dissonance that's gonna get you mad at me. Don't get mad at me. Get mad at your upbringing and how you was raised and how you were taught. Get mad at the people who miseducated you, not me. I'm not your enemy. Kamala is, Joe. All right? So let's get back. Let's get back. Let me change my beat up. Go back into Kamala Harris's father, and make sure you hit the like button right now. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you over on Twitter, hit the, oh yeah, got the Black American flag t-shirt here. If you over on Twitter, repost, retweet. If you own YouTube, share the links. Please share the links to all of today of what we got going on before we go back into this story right here about Kamala Harris. All right? So let's go. Let's get back into talking about Scamala. Because she's scamming your black asses and thinking that she the same culturally as you. All right, Joe, so hopefully you done being a bitch. It's all right. I forgive you, my brother. I forgive you. We supposed to forgive each other. We talk shit as black folks, but we don't hold animosity towards one another. Hold the animosity towards these politicians that's trying to fuck all of us. Why in the hell would you defend a politician that don't give a about you? Shit's stupid. Back to what we talking about. So she 3 seasons a year. The girls lived in Montreal. Summers included bonding time with their father. Throughout Kamala Harris's historical political career, a zenith of which will be her swearing in as the country's first female, first black, and first Indian vice president. Donald Trump is chosen to be in the background. Okay, that's a little more details. This is what he said. Remember when she was on the Breakfast Club and she said that she jokingly cited her Jamaican heritage as to why she smoked weed? He said, speaking for myself and my immediate Jamaican family, we wish to categorically disassociate ourselves from this travesty. So the parts that she gives to us, her father is disassociating from. So that would beg the question. Is Kamala really like she was saying, or was she pandering to us? Let's look at the definition of pandering. Let's look up the definition of pandering. Pandering. To provide gratification for others' desires. The Democrats understand that black people need to see people who look like us in office. And they don't have to even create a good story. Just have someone that looks like us out there, and we'll create the story for ourselves about whatever our desires are. Democrats know that people of color want to see a person that is associated with them. People in general want to see themselves in leadership. It's not just black people. And in America, there's a large Indian immigration, Asian overall, and South Asian immigrant class over the last 20 years. We've seen huge swaths of people from the Asian continent move to America. So in Kamala, she can pander to millions and millions of people just by her look. She can go further in how she plays to those people, playing them on common themes. Talking about, she can laugh on the Breakfast Club about smoking a joint, but this is the same woman who prosecuted over 1,900 people in San Francisco for marijuana offenses during a time marijuana was decriminalized. Now again, what they're doing to muddy the waters, they're saying, oh, those people didn't go to jail. Only 45 went to jail. Look. First off, if one went to jail during a time that weed was decriminalized, that was too many. But the fact that 1,900 people had that on their record, that permanently changed the course of their life and the things that were available to them. That meant that now they're no longer ever able to carry a gun in the state of California with that on their record. That means they can no longer hold certain jobs in America because of that on their record. That means those people could have gotten fired. They're all that messed up those people's opportunities economically that got charged with marijuana offenses when she was DA of San Francisco. During a time, like I said before, marijuana was decriminalized. It was no longer a felony. It was California at the time had decided to stop prosecuting and stop dealing with in marijuana offenses, but Kamala Harris found a way to spike marijuana convictions and charges during her time. So how can she be somebody who spiked charges? And you can go back to my last video for more details on that. How can you be someone that's responsible for spiking charges, but still brag about on the Breakfast Club, I smoked a joint or two? That's pandering. But truth is, a lot of people, especially a lot of you niggas that align Democrat, y'all like having jizz on your face. If politics was porn, a lot of you motherfuckers would be cum shot recipients. That's what a lot of you motherfuckers would be, because you just like that humiliation of. Yes, I'm being vulgar because you're vulgarly stupid. So let's go further. So when we go further into it, look at what Kamala Harris said out of her own words. This is what I wanted to get to. Harris has noted her late mother was the most formative parent in her life. Her mother took her daughters to her hometown of Chennai in southern India and dressed them in Indian jewelry. Tamil Americans have been delighted to hear Kamala Harris's use of the word chitti, a term of endearment for the younger sister of one's mother, in high-profile speeches. So there you go. Kamala Harris uses words from her mother's ancestry. Her mother is the person with the most formative part in her life, who was the most formative person in her life. So Joe, if you still in here, if you're still not here acting like a hoe, she tells you here, her mother was the most formative parent in her life. You did? Let's go into who Harris's Jamaican family comes from. Brownstown, so named after enslaver Hamilton Brown. It remains a rural area that bustles with markets where merchants sell meat, spices, and other goods. Harris's great-grandmother, Christiana Brown, is thought to be both a descendant of Brown and enslaved Jamaicans, according to Latoya Harris, 39, who is also a great-grandchild of Brown, a stern businesswoman everyone called Miss Chershi. So, yes, she was both descendant of a slave master and being enslaved. I don't criticize her for that, because if a lot of us look back, a lot of us had slave masters in our bloodline, but the slave master, it wasn't by choice that slave master was a great-great-great-granddad. So I'm not going to hold that against Kamala, because a lot of times that was by force that was your great-great-great-granddaddy, not by choice. So I'm not going to hold that against her, being someone who descends from a slave owner, because we don't know how that happened. That could have been by marriage. It could have been by force. We don't know. So since I don't know, I ain't going to get involved. But it shows here that she is definitely from that part of Jamaica. Again, no blood ties to the United States of America. And the reason why this means a lot to me is because me personally, I can trace my blood ties to the United States of America documented to the year 1640. Definitely before that, but there are no documents, because when my family arrived here in 1640, they procreated with someone who on Ancestry says is a colored. And when other lineages of my family got here, they talked about procreating with American Indians all through the 1600s. So on one side of my family, it's no telling how far it goes back to America. On the other hand, I have a lot of family that came from Europe, Middle Essex to be precise. Middle Essex, England. I can trace some of my Middle Essex family back so far on Ancestry, back to the year 1505. But for those of you who read Dr. Clyde Winters, it's not a straight shot that your European ancestry is white. Understand this, Europe, England, France during the 1600s was very much so metropolitan. You still had Moors there, you still had Anglo-Saxons, you still had the Welsh, you still had the Irish, and it was a very metropolitan society. So it's not a one-to-one connection that all Europeans and people that come from Europe were necessarily white. For more further information, read books like this. If you think I'm bullshitting, let me get on full screen. If you want to know more about that British history, you want to know more, read this book right here. And this book ties into a lot of Jamaicans, because a lot of your Jamaicans that were expelled from Europe in the 1500s were sent to Jamaica. A lot of your black people who were expelled when a lot of the Negroes or the niggers, according to them, the nigger kings, go look that up. That's not me saying that. Look up the nigger kings of Europe in the 1200s through the 1400s. Not bullshitting you. Look it up. The nigger king. I said the nigger kingdoms of Europe. But for more information, read this book right here. It's called Ancient and Modern Britons. And it talks about the metropolitan societies in Europe and how a lot of those Britons were sent to both the Americans and the Americas and Jamaica and the Caribbean islands. All right? This ain't me pulling some shit out my ass, you dickheads. And also, read this book, World History by Dr. Clyde Winters of the Black Race. This is another book that will talk to you about different migration patterns in the Americas, throughout Europe, throughout Africa, throughout different parts of the world. And this is a sourced book, okay? There's scholarship on this. But within the scholarship, as people settle on different parts of the earth, you develop new cultures. When you've been in a new place for more than 2 generations, 3 generations, you develop a new culture. But when you come from somewhere and you first generation from that culture, you're still pulling from that culture mostly because neither of your parents know the culture of the land that they're in. Her father did not understand American culture. Her mother did not understand American culture. She got her American culture on the ground. And sorry, HBCU folks, you do not get culture once you're in your fucking 20s in college. You learn culture before the age of 8. Your culture is imprinted on you 8, 9, 10 years old. That's when your culture is crystallized. Everything else is choices you choose to either accept into what you developed as your culture or reject. But as far as what your culture is, the way you operate, the way you move, the way you act, the way you react, that's developed and honed at home and given and imparted to you by mommy and daddy. Not at Howard University. And we're going to get into Howard University in a little bit, all right? I got some heat for Howard, and that's sorry-ass school. We're going to talk about Howard. So, oh, it's my mother calling me. Hold on. Mother, I'm live right now. All right, I'll call you back. All right, bye. Gotta answer when my mom called. You dig? My mom and my dad called. They fuck y'all, nigga. Gotta answer. Well, let's get back into it. So here it is. That's where culture comes from. And what we're doing here is we're reading in the paper what her father is saying her culture is. And her mother. So we're going into what they are and what the grandparents are. Let's see here. As you go deeper into this article, it talks about, basically it goes into detail about as to how the family broke up. Nubia DNA, I appreciate the Cash App. I got a couple Cash App. James Thompson, much love. Oh shit, James Thompson hit me with the 50. Who gonna match that 50 James Thompson just hit me with? Yeah, here we go. Appreciate that. I'm over here not even reading my Cash Apps. Y'all sending me some bread and some love and offerings. I appreciate that. My bad, Cash App folks. James, you said that shit 30 minutes ago. I'm just now reading it. I'm focused on the message. So again, he's talking more about who he is and more himself. And he goes in talking about his Caribbean demeanor, yeah, and all that stuff. He's talking about himself here. So in this article, it talks about, more about how her mother would take them to demonstrations and things like that. And apparently her mother had them somewhat civilly involved in civics, involved in civil matters, going to black churches for some things. So I got to give Kamala Harris' mother a little bit of credit for that. Don't know the frequency of how she went to those things, but they're saying she did it once or twice. But in here, it talks about how in this article, it goes into talking more about, more about the Caribbeanness of her. I want to get to the part to where she's talking about going into India. Let me see it. No, I wasn't here. About spending her summers in India, because Kamala, even in here, it talks about, let me see, where is another article I had. Let me go back. There's another article I have. Hold on. Let me pull up this other article I have on. Let me see. I think I have it. I think I have this other article. Where is it? 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 Shared file. Okay. Shared. Here we go. Let me see here. So let's go into who she is, who Kamala Harris, and why she's not like us. So we already seeing that she has the Indian background. Okay, no, this is her. This is her record as an attorney general. Don't want to talk about that now. Her record, or crime lab scandal. No, I don't want to talk about that either. Kamala Harris is. Okay, no, I don't want to talk about that either. This other shit I want to talk about with Kamala right now. I'm looking for the article on her talking about going to India. Hold on. Here we go. Let me see here. Here, is this it? Here, is this it? Yeah, here we go. Oh, it's such a perfect day. I'm glad. That's right, man. No. We gotta go. I see this, but I gotta go to my. I can't do the commercials. Let me go to my other browser where I'm signed in on. Let me go to my. Hold on, let me go to my other browser where I'm signed in on, so I ain't gotta go do no damn commercials. All right, here we go. Let's show this. I'm gonna mute the sound just in case they try to strike my ass. All right, now here you go. Now let's get into her her speaking. I don't want to play that music. No, they still playing that bullshit ass music. Let me see here. Let's watch this. Now this is just playing. I want to see the actual fucking. I'm over here looking at my goddamn self. Not this. Hold on. Let me go. Let me see. I don't like that video. Let me go to another one. Let me go for another one. Let me see here. See, a lot of this.
Earliest conversations, Deepak, and what has now occurred in terms of the number of people that
This is Kamala Harris at the Indian Impact Summer Summit a couple months ago. Let me see. This ain't it. Where is it? Where is it? Was it here? No. I had I played the video. See, they be, man, fuck the internet now. It ain't nothing like it was back in the 90s, in the 2000s. You can find shit right away. Let me see here. Let me see here. Let me go on another page and see. Let me see here. Chat room, can y'all help me with that? Cause let me see. Let me see here. Let me see. Let me see here. Where is it? Oh, here's an article I saw the other day. I can't find that that video right now. Yeah, I know, Emmanuel. They've been working hard to scrub. This shit used to come right up. They've been working hard. Because remember, I did a lot. What I got to do is just go back and watch my videos on Kamala from 2020. Because a lot of those articles are on those videos. I did a whole bunch of videos exposing Kamala 4 years ago when she was running for vice president. Let me see here. Let me see here. Because she talked about, in her book, going down to India every other summer to spend time with her grandfather. Kamala used to spend every other summer going to India, and there used to be a video where she has a conference talking about what I'm gonna ask y'all to do, just so I don't hold my shit up. I ask y'all to spend some time look for the video of Kamala Harris. She's talking about going and spending summers with her grandfather and taking walks along the beach with her grandfather to discuss Indian heritage, Indian roots. Videos out there, y'all just have to look that shit up on your own, because yeah, they doing their best to scrub that shit from the internet like a motherfucker. So either way it goes, you're dealing with a woman who does not share a common cultural bond with you, with your black ass. And she panders to your black ass to make it seem like she does. She does not fuck with you. She don't fuck with nobody that's black. She's somebody who, when she sees black, that's something that she cosplay as in order to get votes. It's not who she is. She's not like us. Let me see here. Let's now go into Howard University. Howard University. People keep saying, okay, Kamala went to Howard. That's what makes her black. Let me tell y'all something. It ain't a fucking thing Howard University got to do with being black. Blackness is not, you don't get your race education in college. College is where you go to get an education, to get a degree, to learn something that's going to push you forward in life. And in your free time, she happened to be around people that look like her. But you don't, just because you're around a culture doesn't mean you become a culture. And this is a problem a lot of y'all are dealing with when it comes to hip hop. When we talk about Jamaicans and hip hop and Puerto Ricans and hip hop, just because you are around the culture doesn't mean you're part of the culture. Proximity to the culture is not culture. Culture is born and bred in you at home with your family, specifically your mother. Going to Howard University does not make you black or more blacker. You know how many fucking white people and Asians got degrees from Howard University? Are they black? Do them motherfuckers claim or even want to be black is the question. Let's get into the history of Howard University. Howard University is a school that was created basically after the Civil War. Howard University is a school that white folks created to create a black clergy class. That's where they sent their black clergy originally to learn. Howard University. That's where the black clergy was sent to Howard University. And Howard University was created basically to create a buffer class between the educated Negroes and the new rulership leader class Negroes. And I know this is gonna hurt some of y'all Howard people's feelings. I don't give a fuck. Hell, a lot of you niggas that went to college and went to HBCU suffer from the arrested development anyway. You niggas still talk about college as if you still in college. Once college is over, it's time to get to fucking work and get on with life. We all got degrees. Your degree don't mean shit to anybody outside of your job and where you applying your degree to. Don't nobody else give a fuck. But we tend to have these people that went to black fraternities and sororities, that went to these HBCUs. They'll have great chin hairs, and they think that means something. It don't mean shit. It was a portion of your life when you were young that you did a lot of things that you'll never. Hell, worst part about it is 80% of the social shit that you did in college, you wouldn't even tell your kids you did. So stop it with the arrested development of, oh, this person went to this university. This is my soror. We went to the same college. That's why they need to. Fuck all that. Fuck your college. I care about America. Look, that bitch's husband went to my school. James Emhoff, Kamala Harris's husband, went here. California State University, Northridge. The first husband went to my college. You think I give a fuck about having the first husband be a graduate of my college? So I don't look, you Howard, you niggas, I don't give a fuck about y'all feelings. Y'all either gonna take this heat or get the fuck about the channel. I ain't about to sit here and let some Howard University motherfucker, HBCU nigga just run. No, nigga. Her husband went to my school, so I can flex too. But I'm not, because her husband ain't shit. And she ain't shit. So we about to get into it when it comes to Howard University. Howard University is a school that when it comes to the great black scholars, this is how you know they are a buffer class. Well, first, let me get into the history of Howard, and then we'll get into we'll get into the history of all the black revolutionaries that they kicked out. So she went to Howard University. Well, let's say Howard University was named after General Oliver Otis Howard, a white man that was head of the Freedmen's Bureau, and he aided in freeing slaves. General Howard, he played a real significant role, but let's go to the founding and mission of Howard University. The initial idea of Howard University came from a group of Congressionalist ministers who aimed to create a theological seminary for training black clergy. Black clergy always means black rulership class. Black clergy is a code word. The clergy now was the rappers and the celebrities, but the clergy has always been your Al Sharptons, your Jesse Jacksons, these people who represent the church, who are our so-called leaders. However, the scope of the quickly expanded to include a broader range of academic disciplines. Really, when you go into the mulatto segregation of Howard, and it's not just Howard University, it's also Fisk University. Universities like Howard, Fisk, Morehouse, Spelman, these schools were created and named after either mostly white folks because at the end of the day, and I got this from Dr. John Henry Clark, the children of slaves, slave owners who at least wanted to somewhat deal with their kids, they were too dark to go to Harvard. But they were those same slave master that kind of dealt with their mulatto offspring, they didn't want them quite going to Tuskegee, especially in the late 1800s, because that's where Booker T. Washington was, and he was talking that real pro-black shit down in Tuskegee. So they needed universities that can train a black clergy class, a black upper class, black people that rules over the rest of the niggas. That's what Howard University is. Howard University is a training ground for niggas to rule over niggas, but never think in one way, shape, form, any way ever of ruling over white people. That's what it does. Howard teaches you how to have more money, how to deal with and influence and ride on other black people. Those are the kind of leaders that Howard trains. What's my evidence? Well, when Howard University has gotten professors who are revolutionary, some of the greatest minds in black American history, starting with William Leo Hansberry. Let me pull him up. Going back to William Leo Hansberry, the father of all black history is William Leo Hansberry. This is the man that started Black History Department at Harvard University and at Howard. The problem was Howard University had an issue with his Black Studies department. And instead of embracing William Leo Hansberry, instead of cultivating what he developed, they kicked him out. He wasn't allowed to continue to speak at Howard University, although he literally created the African Studies Department, Black Studies Department. They didn't fuck with William Leo Hansberry. Let me give you another name that they didn't fuck with. Carter G. Woodson. Carter G. Woodson is the father of Black History Month. There would be no Black History Month if not for Carter G. Woodson. Carter G. Woodson decided to take the week between Abraham Lincoln's birthday and George Washington's birthday and celebrate the contributions of Black Americans. And in his book, The Miseducation of the Negro, he talks about his time at Howard when he was one of the acceptable Negroes, one of the Negroes that played along and played the game. But when he had his awakening and realized that the education system, particularly his Harvard and Howard education, was educating him in a way to not cultivate his blackness, but instead be divisive amongst blacks and separate himself and not be see blackness as something that's powerful. He wrote a whole book called The Miseducation of the Negro and how and how the school system is used to basically cultivate coons. He's another person that when he taught at Howard, when Howard University was with him, he's somebody that Howard University basically cut out. He was too pro-black, too focused on black issues and black people. So Howard University cut him out. The next person, Howard University, and it's more than these people I'm telling you about right now. I'm just giving you a line. The next person, Dr. John Henry Clark. Dr. John Henry Clark, probably the most scholarly of scholars in Black America. Had a short run at Howard University, but Dr. John Henry Clark wouldn't teach us. Dr. John Henry Clark, he wouldn't teach that bullshit history. He would teach the real history. He would teach Black Americans who we really are. He would tell the truth about who we really are. And that conflict between Dr. John Henry Clark telling the truth about who we are and Howard University's request led to Dr. John Henry Clark being fired from Howard University. Again, another all-time titan in black literature, black scholarship, run out by Howard University for being too pro-black. Last but not least, because there's more people I could talk about, I'm only going to use 4 today. I'm only going to use these 4. The 4th, Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. She is the reason why we understand how racism, white supremacy happens and exists. Dr. Frances Cress Welsing wrote a book called The ISIS Papers. And in her book, The ISIS Papers, she's a woman who's educated at Howard University. Lived in DC her adult life. This woman went to Germany. Do you know? Because she was raised by her parents were both doctors, so she had money. When she graduated college, her parents told her you can go on a trip anywhere around the world. Do you know where she chose to go in the 1960s? She chose to go to Germany. Not on vacation, but to study racism at one of its roots in Germany. And to study the conditions as to how did these Germans allow these groups of people to get put in gas chambers. So she wanted to study racism for what it was. So she went there and she dedicated her life, over 50 years of her life, to studying racism, white supremacy, only to come back home and be rejected by who? Howard University. It's not to say all people that went to Howard are like this. It's not to say that all people that went to HBCUs are like this. But what I am saying is, this is an indictment on the HBCU system, in particular schools like Howard University. When you get leadership that come from those schools, you got to ask yourself, what kind of leadership are you getting? How can the school that rejected some of the foremost scholars whose work still reverberates in the history of Black Americans knowing who we are, how do you strike out that many times? Mind you, I didn't mention Dr. Ben and how they didn't allow him to teach there, how they fired him. There's a whole, if you guys want, I did an interview with Dr. Randy Short about 2 years ago on Howard University and Fisk University, and how they systematically find the revolutionary Black professors and weed them out. Dr. Randy Short, for those of you who've been long members of my show, he get better. Dr. Short's in the hospital, but he's getting better. When Dr. Short gets out of the hospital, we're gonna talk to him on this program again about Kamala Harris, and we're gonna talk about who she is. Because Dr. Randy Short, he went to Howard University with Kamala Harris, so he's gonna talk about who she was on campus at that time he was there. And if you want to go back, that interview is still up on my YouTube channel from like 3 or 4 years ago, him interviewing with her. But he's also a professor and somebody who was X'd out of being a professor at Howard University, because from his point of view as a college professor, Dr. Randy Short breaks down how Howard University finds the professors that can instill something, a revolutionary mindset in the mindset of those students, and they weed them out. Howard University weeds out people like Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, people like Dr. John Henry Clark, people like Dr. William Leo Hansberry, people like Carter G. Woodson. These are titans in Black American history. And if you don't know who these people are, you don't have much knowledge of self. So when it comes down to it, this is what you're dealing with when it comes to Howard University, a group, a school that raises people that aren't going to do anything to help the greater good of Black society. So Kamala cannot hide behind being at Howard University as her Blackness. It's not your Blackness, woman. Your Blackness comes from whatever acting coach they gave you to tell you that Snoop Dogg was rapping in 1989. He wasn't. Whatever campaign person that told you, shouts out to Fife. Remember she said that when Fife was dead? She's not like us. She's not us. In any way, shape, or form. Outside of a few moments in her life, a little bit of her life when she was in Oakland. Mind you, she went to high school in Canada. And to go further into why she's not like us, she would do shit like this. This is Kamala. This is another. Let me show here. This is Kamala right here. Yeah, I remember when she had that crime lab scandal in San Francisco. It was all kind of corruptions in that crime lab. A lot of corruption, and they had to dismiss over 1,000 cases because of her corrupt crime labs. Misconduct, and all this stuff was going on during her tenure. She wasn't doing shit about it until it was time to seek election. What about this article? See, what I had to start doing was going back and saving articles. Because you see, when you try to go back and pull them up, I had to save these articles as PDF files. This is another article talking about her brutal record as a DA. Let me see. What about this one? This article. No, you know how they keep saying that Kamala didn't do these things? See, what you got to do, like yesterday, I kind of went through, and I'm saving some of these articles for later on when I talk about Kamala. I'm going to do whole other shows about Kamala because I've been spending time going back and finding old articles. This is one of the ones I found before they scrubbed from 2010. See, if you're from LA, if you're from California like me, you remember this shit when it happened. And so people like me are trying to go back and put up on the internet stuff that we remember from 15 years ago, and the internet's been scrubbed of it. That's the problem. But I did find one article from 2010. This is when it was still going on. So they can't tell you that they're lying now. This is from when it was going on. San Francisco District Attorney Kamala Harris violated defendants' rights by hiding damaging information about a police drug lab technician, and was indifferent to demands that it accounted for its failings. A judge declared that. This is from a judge. All you sister girls out there that's talking about how black Kamala Harris is. How that sound? Is this what she learned at Howard University right here? Is this what she learned? And no disrespect to everybody that went to Howard. But I gotta get you. Y'all putting y'all university before country, before the greater good of black people. So if all these Howard University soror people are putting they in HBCU niggas, if y'all putting y'all feeble feelings on having someone that went to your little ass school be the first president ahead of the greater good of black America, like my man Boogie B used to say, let me stress you out. Rest in peace, Boogie B. That was my dog. But let me stress you out. You ain't about to throw the rest of us under the bus so your little ass college can get some recognition. You better motherfucking recognize it yourself. Fuck out of here. So, when it come down to it, it's talking, again, this is from 2010. In a scathing ruling, the judge concluded that prosecutors had failed to fulfill their constitutional duty to the defense about problems surrounding Deborah Madden, retired technician, at the heart of a cocaine skimming scandal that led to a police shutdown. They had to dismiss over 600 cases, and Kamala Harris was still putting people in prison knowing those cases were tied to this drug lab. This is her leadership. This is who she is. A judge had to rip her ass. Look at this one. This is an article from 2014. Again, this is me pulling up articles from the time. They take a little, you can't just Google. These articles all used to be on the first page before a month ago. Now, you got to do some woompty wamping to find them. California AG shocked to learn that her office wanted to keep. That was some shit that she said. Lawyer's article. Look at this. Lawyers for California Attorney General Kamala Harris argue releasing nonviolent inmates early with harm efforts to fight California wildfires. Mind you, the reason why she had to release these nonviolent, the reason why she was asked, remember, the reason why Kamala was asked to release these nonviolent offenders early was because California, it had been had got under federal investigation for having overcrowded prisons. The prisons here in California back then were too overcrowded. So since the prisons were too overcrowded, they asked California to release a lot of prisoners, and Kamala Harris said no. This was an article from 2014. See, right now, if you Google this, they'll tell you that, oh, this is all bullshit. Oh, these people are making things up. And they'll say Kamala Harris didn't refuse to release felons before they were over their time. That's the technicality they give you is they'll tell you Kamala Harris, it's a lie that Kamala Harris kept people over their time. That no, she did not. That's what they'll tell you when they're cleaning it up. When the truth is, when you get the full context of the scope, California was required to release prisoners because California violated federal statutes for having overcrowded prisons. This time 10 years ago, there were prisons where there were prisoners that were sleeping on the floor because there were so many non-violent prisoners that were in prison. Mind you, these non-violent prisoners got put into prison during the time, in a lot of ways, Kamala Harris, when this ruling got laid down in 2014, she had already been state attorney general for 3 years. She became state attorney general in 2011. So a lot of that happened under her watch, this overcrowding of California prisons. So she was mandated by a judge to release prisoners because of that. And she chose not to in order to fight wildfires. So when those of us who were around when this happened say that Kamala Harris held prisoners past their due dates, people will come back and say, oh no, she didn't hold anyone past their sentencing. And they're right. Kamala Harris didn't hold people past their sentencing. She held them past when the feds told her to release them, which means technically Kamala Harris broke federal law to keep prisoners, which is even worse. Non-violent prisoners. These aren't rapists. These aren't killers. These aren't people who were accused of armed robbery. These are people that had weed on them. These are people in jail for not hurting anybody else. And she said no. So a lot of you hoes out there, you Kamala hoes, y'all take that technicality. Oh, she didn't keep them in there past their due date. That's because they got too long of a due date to begin with, stupid. Look at this. Last week, the Los Angeles Times reported that attorneys in Harris's office had unsuccessfully argued in court that the state could not release the prisoners it had agreed to release because it forced to release these inmates early. Prisons would lose an important labor pool. Those prisoners, the Times reported, earned wages that range from 8 cents to 37 cents per hour. Let me go back and show y'all what I'm reading. I'm not just making this bullshit up. We are reading from BuzzFeed the national editor. This is from BuzzFeed. November 18th, 2014. So y'all can look this up. BuzzFeed. (2004). Oh, it's still up. So let me take you to the actual link. Okay, here we are at the actual link. And so I'm going to put this link in the chat room, and then y'all can read it yourself. I just put the link in the chat room. This is from 2014, talking about Kamala Harris fighting to keep prisoners in jail. Let's go to the LA Times link. This LA Times, November 14th, 2014. Federal judges order California to expand prison releases. Again, let me see here. I still got this shit up. There we go. Federal judges order California to expand prison releases. She's not like us. And she's telling you with her actions. This is what I was telling you about. The feds. Look at this. Cross-referencing. The earlier one was a BuzzFeed article. This is a Los Angeles Times article. Here we go. The federal judge panel did not take action on other steps it had ordered California to take last February. Mind you, let's see this. Let's go back a little further in this article. Let's read this article from the top. Federal judges on Friday ordered California to launch a new parole program that could free more prisoners early, ruling the state had failed to fully implement an order last February intended to reduce unconstitutional crowding. Look at this. Unconstitutional crowding. Y'all see that? This isn't me. This is the LA Times. Matter of fact, boom, copy, paste. I copy and pasted this article in the chat. So have at it, chat. It says, let me see. When did Kamala Harris take California. No, state. I know the dates, but this is for you guys. I know the dates, but I want to put this up for you. I want to go. Here it is. California, the 32nd State Attorney General. What year was this? 2010. So 2000 here. History. Kamala Harris served from January 2011 to January 2017. So I just want to show y'all Kamala Harris's tenure. So yeah, I'm not taking it from me. Just this is from the California governor's website. You see here, Kamala Harris, history of the state attorney general. She served from 2011 to 2017. So in this article, written 2014, she's 3 years in, going on 4 years into her job. And they were ordered 11 months prior by the feds to reduce unconstitutional crowding. So on the second time, they ordered all nonviolent second strike offenders to be eligible for parole after serving half their sentence. Nonviolent. They told corrections officials to submit new plans that parole process by December 1st to implement the new beginning in January. The record contains no evidence that defendants cannot implement the required parole process date by this yada yada 11, yada yada. Corrections Department spokeswoman said blah blah blah. But the federal judicial panel did not take action on other steps it had ordered California to take last February. Okay? Last February, now mind you, was 3 years into Kamala's job. Those include increasing sentencing reductions. Minimum custody inmates can earn good behavior and participation in rehabilitation education programs. So basically, the state has a program that's going to help these people rehabilitate and get back into society. Most of those prisons now work as groundskeepers, janitors, and in prison kitchens with wages that range from 8 cents to 37 cents per hour. Lawyers for Attorney General Kamala Harris had argued in court that if forced to release inmates early, prisons would lose an important labor pool. So you notice their concern isn't about the citizens. And this is what offended me as a Californian. If they said that, okay, these prisoners are violent, they're going to cause trouble, they're going to wreak havoc, me being the patriot that I am, I would have said, leave them niggas locked up. I'm dead serious. I ain't that goddamn much of a liberal. I ain't liberal at all. I'm more of a conservative than I am liberal. But I do have a lot of liberal tendencies too. But I ain't that goddamn liberal. If they was violent criminals, lock they monkey asses up. But these weren't violent criminals. And Kamala Harris's office said that they weren't violent. They said they can't release them so they wouldn't lose an important labor pool. This woman ignored the United States Constitution in order to keep people locked up. Y'all talk about it. That's why I'm not scared about Trump. I'm not saying I'll turn my mic up some. Thank you for that, Star. Is that better? Is that better? Let me know if my mic is better. Let me know. Here we go. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so this is what we're dealing with here. We're dealing with somebody who was willing to break the Constitution to keep niggas locked up. That's better? My bad, y'all. My bad. I see now, because this is where my mic usually is. Somebody must have hit my control center right here. I got my mic thing. Somebody must have hit it. It was way lower than it usually is. My bad. It's way lower than it was. I see that now. So that's where we are with it right now. That's where we are with it right now. That's where we are with it right now. Kamala is not like us. Now let's look at what the chat room is saying. Somebody here, Anna Duckers says, "You are still a slave, my dear. This is from Real African. I am not American, South African, you dumb African, Black American man." That person's white. Whoever this person is white. It's probably a white dude talking. And your mama's a slave. Your mama's a sex slave to a white man that hasn't washed his balls in 6 months. Let's see here. Glenn Franklin says, Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, tenure as a professor. Yeah, they denied her. Straight up. You cannot look. I judge people on your record, not what you tell me. Let me show you your record. Why do so many black people who wrote groundbreaking works that freed and liberated our minds, why are they continually pushed out at Howard University? Howard should be a safe haven, a home for people like Dr. John Henry Clark, Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. That should be a pillar. That should be a place that should be a safe haven for them. What else we got in here? Street Poet says, they call it skating when you don't go through the regular process of getting in a frat, and they hate them. You're right. And Kamala Harris skated to her goddamn sorority. She wasn't a soror back when she went to Howard. She wasn't fucking with you niggas like that. Let's see what else we got in here. Yeah, CT, yeah. And at the end of the day, the Electoral College decides the president. And let me tell y'all something. I did not say this in the beginning that I meant to say this. I meant to say this in the beginning. And I said this before. All this shit is a play. Politics is no different than WWF wrestling, WCW, TNA, the NBA, the NFL. It's a scripted reality series. It's Atlanta Housewives. It's TV shows. It's Three's Company. That's what politics is. It's just a play with political action figures that are puppets. Political puppets, I should say, because they're not really action. That are going to be given a script and given an agenda their first day in office. And depending on which party gets in, that script varies slightly. Left-leaning scripts, they want to turn your kids and confuse your kids sexually on the left. They want to say, like Judge Ketanji Jackson Brown, I don't know what a woman is. They want to make it seem like they're down with black people, seem like they're cool with them, but they every bit as vile, vitriolic, racist as the right wing. The right wing side of racism is more so concerned about business. It's concerned about faking like they have family values. They don't have no fucking family values, but they use the family values front. But they do a better job of thwarting against a lot of this stuff that's the sexual confusion. But they want things like that. They're openly racist. They're fine with open racism. And I'm not saying all people on the right wing are open, but they're fine with it. So if you're fine with it, you're complicit. So it's just slightly different variations on how to carry out the same agenda. So this is just a play that we watch. and we have a good time watching, but we don't get emotionally involved. I don't get emotional when it comes to politics. Like I'll never fall out with a friend over politics. Now, people may fall out with me over politics, and that's fine too, because if my political different opinions are enough to make you not be cool with me as a person, I don't want you around me anyway, hoe ass nigga or niggette. I'm the kind of person that could deal with somebody with completely different, varying political opinions, because I understand that people are deeper than their political opinions. And at the end of the day, political opinions are just assholes. We all got them, and they don't mean shit, because we have an electoral college that elects the president, and that president runs an agenda that's going to go in alignment with whoever the fuck got all the money wanted to go. That's how this process works. But in the meantime, I have a great time talking shit about politics. I love the same way I like talking shit about basketball. I watch basketball and be like, aha, my Lakers beat y'all asses again. Aha. I know that shit's all fake and bullshit, but goddamn it, it's fun to talk shit when we win. Except for with LeBron James on. I want LeBron off my Lakers. Get up. Again, that goes with that. I like talking shit to LeBron fans, because a lot of y'all dudes is homos looking for a daddy in sports figures. But I don't really mean it. But it's fun to talk shit about, because it's all fake. Politics is fake. That's why I can talk so evenly about both sides. I don't give a fuck about neither one of the sides. But the Democrat side, that's the side that's always in my fucking face all the goddamn time. The Democrats are the ones that's always wanting my vote. And Kamala Harris, the reason why we have this issue we're having here right here now is Kamala Harris is pandering for our vote based on blackness. She's not offering us tangibles. She's not offering us solutions. She's not offering us any kind of policy in any way, shape, or form. She's just saying, I'm black, you're black, vote for me. So if I'm going to vote for you based on your blackness, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to research your blackness. And your black card came back denied, because you ain't got no black credit. Your only touch of blackness is a couple kid friends of yours in Oakland that you ain't seen since you was 7, and Howard University, a place that cultivates coons easily. Not all people that went to Howard, but a lot, especially in that leadership class. That's what it's for. So if I'm going to vote for you based on your blackness, it's only fair that I research your blackness, right? Or leave your blackness out of it, Kamala, and give us policy. Leave the blackness alone and tell us something you want to give us. The same way you tell Indians what you want to give them, and LGBTQ what you want to give them, and Israel what you want to give them, and Palestine what you want to give them, and Ukraine what you want to give them, and immigrants what you want to give them. She tells everybody what she wants to give them until it comes to us. She don't tell us what she wants to give us. She says, vote for me because I'm black. And for that, I say no, ma'am. I say no. All right? I got shit to do. I went to go see Shaka Khan last night. About to go see Music Soul Child tonight. So I got to get ready for my all day of shindigs. Because I am Black American and I'm intertwined. I'm all the way in the culture. I am the culture. You did? Kamala and the Democrats are always in our face, wasn't our vote, but they ain't giving us nothing. The Republicans don't be all in our spaces. At least now I don't see them. They don't never ask my vote. They try to do shit to appeal to us by saying certain things, but they're not in our face. Kamala, you in our face trying to act like us. And that's a problem. Somebody said, question, if she's not black, is she blacker than Trump? That's a stupid ass question. This question right here is black people trying to make up reasons to vote for her, regardless of her record. We have 4 years under Trump, and we all had money in our pockets, and Trump didn't do shit to attack us. We already have 4 years of Trump, no attacks. I personally, as a Californian, lived under over a decade of this bitch, and she did not waste time attacking us. So is she blacker than Trump? No. Because Trump didn't attack us with his pen. She did. Fuck out of here. If they don't do shit for black Americans, we ain't got shit to vote for. Whatever Heritage Foundation or Act Blue got planned, look, that shit gonna go through whether or not we care. We're involved. Supreme Court, look at who we got. We got Biden in office, and we got Ketanji Jackson Brown in return. A woman who don't know what a woman is. Imagine what that's gonna do for sexual rights in the future with our children. And the Supreme Court, no matter who they've had in it, you can't show me one ruling that's ever favored black America, including Brown versus Board of Education, including Plessy versus Ferguson. Plessy versus Ferguson was a neutral. It was a net nothing. You know, you want to marry white women, fine. Ultimately, you know, whatever. I'm not going to dick police who you marry. But Brown versus Board of Education, there were 4 other cases on the docket. And those other cases all included just giving black schools equal funding to white schools. They chose integration, and the integration of black school has been one of the worst things that ever happened to us, because we went integrated into a school system that changed on us and became a place of miseducation systems. All right. But I'm about to get up out of here. Thank y'all for telling me to turn my mic up. My shit was low over there. It was low. But it's going to be high up for all future shows. Go to DejuanB.com right now for all things DejuanB. Go to BreakthroughCards.com for all that good shit. And remember this. There are no perfect messengers. Only perfect messages. For those willing to pick up the game. I'm out. Kamala ain't black.